بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. عن معاذة رحمه الله قالت: سألت عائشة رضي الله عنها فقلت: ما بال الحائض تقضي الصوم ولا تقضي الصلاة؟ فقالت: أحرورية أنت؟ قلت: لست بحرورية ولكني أسأل. قالت: كان يصيبنا ذلك فنؤمر بقضاء الصوم ولا نؤمر بقضاء الصلاة. رواه مسلم. Mu'adha al-Adawiyah, who was a tabi'iyah, rahimahullah, narrated, I asked Aisha radiyallahu anha, how come a menstruating woman makes up for missed fast but does not make up for missed salahs? Aisha radiyallahu anha responded, are you a haruriyah? I said, no, I am not. I am just asking. She replied, we menstruated and were commanded to make up for missed fasts, but not commanded to make up for missed salahs. Commentary. During menstruation, a woman cannot fast or pray. Any Ramadan fasts missed due to menstruation are to be made up later. Not so for missed salahs. This report is giving us much more than a legal ruling. From the tone of the question, it seemed that the lady was not just asking about the reason for the practice, which was well known, but questioning its basis. Harura was a town a couple of miles from Kufa. The first Khawarij, a deviant sect, had camped there. That is why they were referred to as Haruriyah as well. While there were many subgroups amongst them, a common theme was their rejection of hadith and literal interpretation of the Quran. Hence the question of Aisha radiallahu anha. She wanted to know where the questioner was coming from. Once she was assured that the question was not motivated by a false ideology, she replied. But the response was not to provide some rationalization. It was simply that the practice was solidly based on the command of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So this is the next hadith about the that pertains to the month of Ramadan. This hadith is obviously for the sisters, and of course, the sisters those sisters who have the monthly menstrual cycle. A basic ruling: they are taught from when they are young that they are not allowed to pray salah during that time. They are not allowed to fast during that time. They are also not allowed to touch the Quran, read the Quran. There is a little difference of opinion amongst the madhahib when it comes to reading the Quran. But majority of the ulama, they say they're not allowed to read the Quran as well. Similarly, they cannot enter the masjid. And this is, like I mentioned I think last week I touched upon this since we're reading the hadith here. This is very important for those people who are in charge of the masajid, or when we build the masajid and when we purchase a piece of land and designate it for the masjid, we have to keep in mind all of these things. That what are we designating as the masjid? Okay, so a lot of communities, they say that, oh, the entire property is the masjid. Well, if you say the entire property is the masjid, then number one, the bathrooms are in the masjid as well. Number two, the parking lot becomes part of the masjid as well. Then number three, the sisters who are menstruating, they come to the masjid as well, right? Now, who is going to go and check all of this, right? We can't have bathrooms in the masjid. The masjid cannot be the bathroom, right? The masjid cannot be the parking lot where people, they smoke, they drink chai, or, they talk, all kinds of things, whatever, in the parking lot. How can that be? How can we have that inside the masjid? Okay, so if that's designated, it will fall under the ruling of the masjid, but you have all of these issues that come with it. So that is why it is extremely important that when we designate the area as the masjid, we have to know, we have to consult the ulama and the scholars that, okay, this is our property, what should we designate at the masjid and what should we not designate as part of the masjid? Okay, so we have this big issue when it comes to the sisters, that many communities, the whole property is the masjid. Okay, but all the sisters that come throughout the year, throughout the week, throughout the month of Ramadan, many of them don't have to pray. They come because it's the month of Ramadan. They want to have the iftar with the community. They want their children to be here, which is totally understandable. But then where are you going to put them? If you say the sister side is also part of the official legal masjid, then we have a problem, because then they're going to be sinful for being there. They can't be there. So then can they be outside? Well, they can't be outside the whole time. We don't have those arrangements. It's probably not very safe as well. So this is why many of the ulama are of the opinion that the sister side, it's best just to give that the ruling of a musalla. Don't call that or designate that as masjid, call it the musalla. So when we're praying with the congregation, they can join the congregation. Okay, those who want to pray with the jama'ah and the congregation, they can join in that. But at least it's not in the hukam of the masjid, in the ruling of an official masjid, So that is why if the menstruating sisters are there, that's okay. They can come over there. They will not be sinful. Okay. So this is important and something that needs to be discussed. Khair. So similarly, for example, where do you read the dua for entering the masjid? So I've had this discussion before. Some people know the whole property is the masjid. So I'm like, so does that mean you read the dua for entering the masjid when your car park passes through the entrance into the masjid, the gate or wherever? Is that where you read the dua? Or do you read the dua over here when you enter through the door? If the whole property is the masjid, you should be reading the dua over there. Allahumma aftah li ababa rahmatik. Right? So there are a lot of ahkam and rulings that kind of go into this. We think the whole property is the masjid. It's not as simple as that. And this is why it is so essential that when it comes to the matters of the masjid, the Muslim community, the ulama have to be consulted, because as general Muslims, we don't know. It's not our fault. It's just that we're not exposed. We don't know all of these masail that are connected with one another and how important all of these things are. I'tikaf also becomes a big issue in that as well. So khair, going back to the hadith over here, Aisha radiallahu anha, so this tabi'iyya, Mu'adha radiallahu anha, she was not a sahabi, she's tabi'iyya. She comes to Aisha radiallahu anha, says, oh Aisha radiallahu anha, tell me, why is it that when we are menstruating, we are told that the salah that you miss because of your hayd and your menstruation, you don't make qada of that. But the Sawm, we are told to make qada of the Sawm. So if we miss 5, 6, 7, whatever fast we missed in the month of Ramadan, we have to make that up after the month of Ramadan. Why is it that? Why is the difference? Both are fard. But why is it that? So Aisha radiallahu anha said that, are you a Haruriyya? So the author explained, Haruriyya refers to the Khawarij. The Khawarij were the first deviated sect to come out from the Muslims. Okay? So up till the time of Ali radiallahu anhu, up till then the Muslims were one ummah. Right? They had minor differences, but it was all one ummah, one nation. Everyone was united. Then when Ali radiallahu and Muawiyah radiallahu, we know, those of us who have a little bit of Islamic history, we know they had some tension amongst themselves, and it led to a few wars and whatnot. Anyways, after some time, they made sulh and they reconciled and they made a peace treaty among themselves. So some of those who were with Ali radiallahu an, they became angry that why is Ali making a peace treaty with Muawiyah radiallahu anhuma? Why is he not fighting him? And they broke off from Ali radiallahu an, and they started basically their own group. So they still considered themselves Muslims, but they started their own group. And they considered many of the Sahaba to be non-Muslims. And according to them, anyone who commits any sin, that person is immediately out of the fold of Islam. Anyone misses salah, you're a kafir. You did ghiba, kafir. Any sin, immediately you're out of the fold of Islam. So another one of the things, the problem was they had, that they would not accept any hadith. Because they say all the Sahaba are non-Muslims. So if they're non-Muslims, we can't accept their hadith. So they would not accept the hadith. And whatever the ayah of the Quran is, they would take it in its literal meaning. When we know that that's not how it is, many times you have to look at the tafsir. And whatever the word of the Quran is, sometimes there's more explanation behind it. You don't just take the ayah and act upon it. You have to understand the background and the history. So this ruling of making up fasts and not making up the salah, that's not mentioned directly in the Quran. It's mentioned in the ahadith. So they said they didn't believe in it. So Aisha radiallahu anha, that's why she asked her, are you asking me because you're one of those people who don't accept the ahadith? She says, no, I'm not one of those people. I just want to know why we make up the fast and we don't make up the salahs. So Aisha radiallahu anha gave a simple answer, that it's because Rasulullah told us. He said, you make up the fast, so we make up the fast. And he said, don't make up the salah, so we don't make up the salahs. And that is all a mu'min and a believer needs. A believer does not need to rationalize, does not need the logical explanation behind each and every single thing, which is also another illness of today. Many Muslims are leaving the fold of Islam because of this. Because not everything in Islam you will be able to understand. It's logical, it makes perfect sense, but we sometimes may not understand because of the lack of our intellect, because of our limited aql, intelligence which Allah has given us. So many Muslims, they think, oh, if I can't understand this, that means this doesn't make sense, so I'm not going to practice upon it. I'm not going to believe in it, right? So this is what Aisha is saying, that our job as Muslims is, because Rasulullah told us, we do it this way, we do it this way. And he said, don't do this, we don't do it. Simple as that. We don't need anything more than that. Anyways, the reason why it's like that is because the five salahs a day. So if a woman, for example, her menstruation every month is, let's say, 10 days, that means she will have to make up 50 salahs every single month. That is very difficult. Sawm, how many sawm is she going to miss? Maximum 10 sawm, because the maximum duration of the hayd is 10 days. So the maximum amount of fast that she will miss is 10 days. And then after Ramadan, she has 11 months to make that up. That's not too difficult, right? To make up 10 fasts in 11 months, very easy and it's very doable. But 50 salahs every month, that becomes very difficult. So again, what we explained yesterday, Allah wants ease, Allah does not want to make things difficult. So for the Sawm, Allah said, make it up. O women of the Ummah, you make it up. Salah, Allah said, we forgive you for that. You don't need to worry about the Salah. So this is the hukam of the menstruating women and some details about that. Once again, we ask Allah Azza wa Jal to grant us the yaqeen and the conviction in whatever Allah and Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam have told us. We believe that, we don't ever question that, we accept that wholeheartedly, and we put that into practice as well. May Allah forgive our shortcomings. May Allah be pleased with us. Amin ya Rabbil Alameen. Wa salli Allahumma wa sallim ala nabiyyina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Walhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen.